This is an intermediate English listening practice. It comes from Book 2 of the Intermediate English Comprehension series, which has over 3,000 positive reviews on Amazon. Listen carefully and use the subtitles to improve your vocabulary and comprehension.
Easter Island is most famous for its distinctive stone statues. However, the island also has a terrible history of war, disease, and environmental disaster. Easter Island, known as Rapa Nui by the original inhabitants, is an island in the southern eastern Pacific Ocean. It is extremely isolated, and the closest inhabited island is Pitcairn Island, which is 2,075 kilometers away. Easter Island is about 25 kilometers long and 12 kilometers across at its widest point. Anthropologists believe that the island was probably first discovered by Polynesians, who traveled in canoes or catamarans from the Gambier or Marquesas Islands. Experts are unsure when the first settlers arrived, but it was certainly between 1,700 and 800 years ago. When these people first arrived, the island was a tropical paradise. It was covered in huge palm trees, and there were many birds, including 5 species of flightless bird. At first, there was plentiful food. The islanders fished in boats they made from huge trees, and they caught and ate seabirds. Because food was so abundant, the islanders had time to build the most famous symbols of Easter Island, its huge statues, called moai. The islanders carved the statues between 1250 and 1500. The moai represented dead ancestors and powerful chiefs, both living and dead. Although the island had been a paradise full of trees and birds, things started to go badly wrong. The island became overpopulated, and the people cut down all the trees. This meant that the islanders could no longer build new boats to go fishing. They also hunted all the flightless birds until they became extinct. It was at this time that the Birdman cult began. In this tradition, the chiefs of the island would come together once a year. Each chief would choose a young man from his clan. This young man had to swim to a small island and bring back a bird egg. The quickest young man would then give the egg to his chief. Unfortunately, with no food, people began to starve to death. As life began to get worse on the island, wars started between the clans. People pushed over the moai and tried to upset the other clans. Thousands of people died from hunger and violence. The once beautiful island was now a terrible place full of desperate and miserable people. The first recorded European visit to the island was on April 5, 1722. It was a Dutch ship, and because it was Easter Sunday, the navigator called the island Easter Island. The next foreign visitors to the island were 2 Spanish ships in 1770, and Captain Cook visited the island in 1774. Things went from bad to worse in the 1800s. In December 1862, slave traders from Peru came to the island. Over the following months, they violently kidnapped over 1,500 people. When the Peruvian government discovered what was happening, they made the slave traders return the kidnapped islanders. Unfortunately, this was disastrous for the island. The returning people brought back smallpox, which killed hundreds of islanders. A few years later, whalers brought tuberculosis, which killed even more people. Toward the end of the 19th century, approximately 97% of the island's population was dead. Today, Easter Island is a part of Chile and is a popular tourist attraction, made famous by its incredible stone statues. However, with its tragic history, it is also a lesson to humanity about the dangers of abusing our environment and the consequences which follow.
If you'd like the full text with comprehension questions and vocabulary explanations, Book 2 is available on Amazon. The link is in the video description below.